What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, we're going to be reacting to every single throwback scheme from the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and Truck Series. And I'm going to be grading each from a letter scale from A to F, from schemes that are really, really good to schemes that are really, really bad. We're going to go over from numerical number and numerical order, and we're going to go ahead and start on it right now. So, starting off with the first one in the Cup Series, we have the one car for Ross Chastain, which, of course, we'll talk about the other Trackhouse car, but he'll be doing a Dillon Jr. Coca-Cola throwback from the 1998 race when they were at Twin Ring Motegi. This absolutely is a banger throwback. In fact, probably the best throwback of any throwback we have on this list. This throwback is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely accurate. You've got the Coca-Cola pillow bear on the front of the car. The only thing that's a little different about it this time is they had to put a slash to the one just because of Teresa Earnhardt, not to basically get a lawsuit from Teresa Earnhardt at this point. But this throwback is absolutely incredible. The score for this one is an A+. This is an amazing throwback paint scheme. They did an amazing job on it, and we'll get to Daniel Suarez as well in a little bit, but this is probably my favorite throwback on the whole entire list. Up next for the 2 car, we have Austin Cindric. He will be doing a Rusty Wallace throwback from 2005, the Kodak Throwback. I'm going to be through with this one. I'm not as big a fan of this throwback. It's a decent looking throwback in my opinion. Honestly, if this was a Menards car that they would basically run the whole entire season, I really wouldn't be mad about it. But honestly, this isn't the greatest throwback. The colors are not absolutely perfect, but Menards probably sponsors, so that's probably why they had to obligate to that. The score for this one, in my opinion, I'm going to give this one a B-. This one's okay in my opinion. It's not my favorite throwback in the world, but I do think there's some good things about it, and we'll see it on the racetrack in the Darlington Throwback race. The next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Kevin Harvick's 4 car, which is a throwback to the Reams chasing a Cure car that he ran in 2011 and 2012. This paint scheme is really a good paint scheme, but for a throwback paint scheme, no. It's not even accurate. The number is the wrong color on the car. The number colors are absolutely wrong. The old car had white numbers. This one has black numbers, so that's absolutely wrong. And it's not even entirely accurate with the colors on the car. This paint scheme just got it all wrong when it comes to throwback. I'm giving this one an F. This is one of the worst throwbacks on this list. It's not a really good looking throwback. I hope he does have a good run with the cars. He really needs to go run where he's in points. But this is not a really good throwback in my opinion. The next throwback we're taking a look at is Kyle Larson's throwback. He is throwing it back to Tim Richmond's 1984 Zero car that he ran when he used to be called All-Star Racing. He's driving a Tim Richmond throwback. This is one of my favorite throwbacks that we have seen so far. It is absolutely accurate and spot on. The only thing that's different, of course, is the number, but everything else is absolutely accurate on this Kyle Larson throwback. It's an amazing looking throwback. For me, my score of this one's also going to be an A+ like the Ross Chastain scheme. It's one of my favorite throwbacks we have seen so far this year. One of my favorite throwbacks I've ever seen ever, and that's not just because I'm a Kyle Larson fan, but I really like this throwback. As Hendrick did a really good job on her throwbacks here, and this one's really, really good in my opinion. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Brad Kozlowski's Mark Martin throwback. Of course, him driving a 6 car, he's doing a throwback to Mark Martin. Socios gave them an opportunity to vote for the 6 and the 17 car, and the 6-1 was a Mark Martin throwback. This paint scheme was going to probably get a C because where the number was located, but they made some fixes very recently. So after looking at it, I'm going to give this one an A-. After they made some fixes and changes to the 6 car, I think this one actually looks really, really good and very, very promising as well. And I'm very excited to see his throwback. I'm going to give this one a B. I give this one overall an A-. It's a really good looking throwback once they got the number fixed. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Corey LaJoie's Marty Robbins throwback, which he has stacking pennies on the car. You've got the 7, and then you got the 77 on the side. Some people think it's 777 car, but it's just the number 7 car. This absolutely is an amazing throwback. I love the designing teams that have been able to design these throwbacks this year. This one looks really, really good in my opinion. It looks very similar to the Marty Robbins throwback. So for this one, I'm going to give this one an A. I was almost going to give this one an A+, but I really like this paint scheme a lot. It's really, really good. For me, I give a score of A for this throwback. The next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Chase Elliott's Jimmy Means throwback. Now, of course, Jimmy Means, basically, who had a 52 car that had an Apple back in 1993. When you look at it from a throwback sponsorship and things, this actually looks really, really good. The only thing that I will say is I'm not a big fan of the color of the number, but it does look like the number that originally was out there. My grading system for this one, I'm going to give this one overall a B. The only thing I will say is I'm not a big fan of the color of the number, but it is very, very accurate. I think it looks okay in my opinion. It's not amazing, but I'm going to give it a B here for this throwback. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Eric Roll's Sam Rodriguez throwback. He is throwing it back, of course, to his grandfather, who also raced as well. This was revealed earlier today. This looks really, really good in my honest opinion. It's very, very accurate to the car. I think it looks absolutely amazing and really, really good. And I think they did a really, really solid job on it. Overall, I'm going to give this one a B+. I really like this one. It's not as good as some of the other ones we've seen so far, but I think it's a B+ worthy throwback. It looks pretty good in my opinion, and I'm excited to see it on the racetrack this weekend. The next throwback we're taking a look at is Denny Hamlin's throwback to when he won the 2016 Daytona 500, which is a celebration, of course, Toyota winning 1,500, well, not winning, but racing 1,500 races in NASCAR. This throwback is really, really cool in my opinion. The only thing I will say is I feel like it's a little bit too recent to do this one. Yes, it's been 6 years, but I feel like it's a little bit too recent. So just for that reason alone, I'm going to give this one, unfortunately, a B-. I feel like if you're going to do one that's a Toyota branding, I feel like he could have done one a little bit earlier for maybe like 2010. I understand winning the Daytona 500 is super significant, and of course it was his first Daytona 500 win, but I think it should have been a little bit earlier than this one, but I will give it a B- just because it was a little bit too recent for me. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Chase Briscoe's Tony Stewart throwback. This, of course, is back throwback to when Tony Stewart ran the Indy 500 in 2001. This is pretty accurate in my opinion. I think it's one of the most underrated throwbacks we've seen so far this year. I think it looks really, really good. I think that, I don't know if Harris Lewis is still really doing the throwbacks anymore or not, but if he is, Lou Harris, you've done a really good job, man, on this throwback. It looks really, really solid overall. It's not perfect in my opinion, but it does look really, really good. I'm going to give this one an A-. I actually like this throwback a lot. It does look really, really good, and I'm excited to see on the racetrack for the throwback race. The next throwback we're taking a look at is J.J. Healy's Clint throwback that was revealed earlier this morning. I absolutely love this throwback paint scheme. This is absolutely accurate as well. I think Ricker Racing did a really good job on this paint scheme. We talked about this on the news video earlier today, but this looks absolutely amazing. They did an amazing job on this paint scheme. This one is absolutely an A+. It is an amazing one. This is probably one of the more underrated throwbacks we've seen this year, but it's a really nice looking throwback, and I think they did an amazing job on this throwback scheme, in my honest opinion. The next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Chris Buescher's Kenza throwback. This also one was part of that Socios branding that we saw. I absolutely love this throwback scheme. It is very, very accurate. I think it's better than Brad Kozlowski's throwback, and I think that Roush did a really good job with the designing and so on. Also, Socios was involved with helping the designing overall as well, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. For me, my score of this throwback, I'm going to give it an A. It's not absolutely perfect enough where I can give it an A+, but it's worthy of an A. It does look really, really solid. And again, just like a lot of other ones on this list, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing on the racetrack this weekend at Darlington. The next throwback we're taking a look at is Kyle Busch's Eminence throwback. This is, of course, to the original Eminence car that ran in 1998. I know a lot of people wanted the 2002, but there were a lot of people that voted for 1998. I will say that this absolutely was one of the first ones that got revealed for the Cup Series, and it does look really, really good in my opinion. I absolutely love it. You've got the number being about as accurate as it can be. Eminem does a really good job when it comes to throwback branding. It's a shame that Eminem's is not going to be around after this year, but I do think overall it does look really, really solid, and it does look very, very nice. So I'm excited to see this one on the racetrack for the throwback race. The next throw, which for this one, I'm going to overall give it probably an A. I'm going to give this one an A- probably. I think this does look really, really good. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Christopher Bell's throwback, which is a throwback, of course, when he drove the number 4 truck, the Sirius XM truck. This throwback is absolutely just extremely lazy. Yes, it does look like a really good car, but you can run this as a traditional scheme. For me on this one, there's not much there. I'm giving this one a C. There's not a lot of creativity to it. I feel like it's just a little bit lazy. They could have done a little better on this one. So for me, this is going to be really short and sweet. I'm giving this one a C. The next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Harrison Burton's Jeff Burton throwback. This is a throwback, of course, to Jeff Burton's 2000 XI battery scheme when he drove for Roush. This is a really good-looking throwback. I think this is one of the better throwbacks we've seen this year so far. When they announced this throwback, I was like, wow, this looks really, really good. I think they did an amazing job on this paint scheme, in my opinion, and I'm very excited to see on the racetrack. I'm giving this one also an A. I think it looks really, really good, in my opinion, and I'm excited to see on the racetrack at the Darlington throwback race. The next throwback we're taking a look at is Joey Logano's Joey Logano throwback, which is a throwback to his younger late model days when he used to drive in late models and sprint car models as well. Joey Logano throwing back to himself, I think is absolutely fair to do, and I think it looks pretty good in my opinion. It looks pretty accurate to it. I just wish they would have done a little bit something different, maybe because they've done a Mario Andretti one in the past, but I do hope they do something like a little more recent, like older Joey Logano, like somehow they get a Home Depot one in the future. For me, I'm going to give this one a B. It's not absolutely perfect, but it still does look pretty good, and hopefully this car will do well this weekend at Darlington. The next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Bubba Wallace's throwback to himself back in 2008. Honestly, I really don't know why Bubba Wallace is throwing it back to himself. I really thought that this is going to be a throwback back to the DLP days, but like I said, they're meant throwing it back to himself. To me, I feel like that when you haven't accomplished a lot in the Cup Series at this point, it kind of isn't fair. Yes, he does have a couple in, but I don't think you should go throw back yourself back to your late model days. For me, in my honest opinion, I'm going to give this one overall a B-. I wanted a little more creativity. It does look like a good money line scheme, and honestly, if this was the traditional money line scheme that they're going to use, I'd rather see it out there, but I wish there was a little more creativity when it comes to throwback. I'm giving this one a B-. The next throwback we're taking a look at is William Byron's Jeff Gordon throwback from the mid-2000s, 2007. This is a really, really accurate throwback. The only thing I'm not a big fan of is the number being moved forward on this one. But other than that, this game is absolutely on point. As a big Jeff Gordon fan, the colors are absolutely on point. I'm giving this one overall an A-. The only thing I'm not a big fan of is the number being moved forward. But other than that, I think it absolutely looks really, really good. It looks really, really killer. And again, I think it looks really good in my opinion. The next throwback we're taking a look at is Cole Custer's Jason Leffler throwback from 2004. This one is not absolutely accurate. I do like this one, but I'm going to say one thing. It's not absolutely perfect. If you've looked at some of the Jason Leffler throwbacks from 2004, it's not absolutely accurate. So for me on this one, unfortunately, I'm going to give this one a C. They don't get the numbers absolutely, they get the number right, but they have, unfortunately, they don't do a great job on the colors. If you look at 2004 car, like I mentioned, it's a different looking color. But I do like this car somewhat, but again, for me, unfortunately, C, because it's not absolutely perfect. Next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Ty Dillon's Lee Petty throwback from the 1959 Daytona 500. This one actually does look really, really good in my opinion. There's not really much to say here. It's very accurate to 1959 colors. For me on this one, I'm going to give this one a B+. I wish there was a little bit more detail to it, but I think that they did a much better job than I thought they were going to do. So like I mentioned here, I'm giving this one a B+ for Ty Dillon. The next throwback we're taking a look at is Erik Jones' Richard Petty throwback from 1959. Now, this one I like a lot more than Ty Dillon's. I think it's absolutely a lot more creative, and it's a lot better. I'm going to give this one an A-. Again, I want a little more on this one, but I think it does look very, very solid overall. So I am very excited to see this one out on the racetrack. I do like Erik Jones, and I do like this paint scheme overall, so I'm excited to see it out on the racetrack. The next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Kurt Busch's Bill Elliott throwback back to 1996. I absolutely love this paint scheme, but there's one negative to this one. The only negative I will say that comes from this one is that Monster Energy logo on the top. That's the only thing that I feel like is affecting this paint scheme, but other than that, this paint scheme is really, really good. I'm going to give this one an A- here. If it wasn't for the fact that the Monster Energy logo, this probably would be an A-, but because they have to have the Monster Energy logo, it makes a ton of sense. So for me, it's an A- scheme. The next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Alex Bowman's Mark Martin throwback back to 1993. This is probably my least favorite Hendrick throwback paint scheme. Shocker. Well, actually my second least favorite Hendrick throwback paint scheme. The one thing I will say about this one that I'm not a fan of is the color of the number. It is not absolutely matching. It should have been a white number. I don't know why they had to make it black. It should have been a white number. That's one thing I wish would happen. I do like he's throwing it back to Mark Barnes. There's a lot of Mark Barnes throwbacks this year, but I feel like it should have been white. So for me, I'm going to give this one a B+. I want a little more on this, but it does look really, really good. And honestly, it was a pretty decent throwback overall, though. The next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Cody Ware's Mike Stefanik throwback, which is throws it back to the Burnham racing days from 1999. I think it looks really, really accurate, but again, the colors don't really do amazing for me, so this is why I'm not a big fan of this one. I'm going to give this one a throwback, unfortunately, a B- here. I'm not absolutely the biggest fan of the colors of this throwback. It's not the greatest looking I've seen. but hopefully maybe we'll just see this car do really well this weekend and enough for it to do well. Honestly, it's Cody Worth, so we're probably not going to see much from this one. Next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Beej Mcleod's BJ Mcleod Throwback. Yes, Beej Mcleod is throwing it back to himself. Josh Williams also going to be running basically the same paint scheme at this point. Beej Mcleod is throwing it back to himself this weekend from the late model days. It's pretty accurate. I give this one a B. It looks pretty accurate. I just wish there was more to it, but it does overall look pretty accurate in my honest opinion. And the last paint scheme for the Cup Series side of things we're taking a look at is Daniel Suarez's Coca-Cola Throwback. It's not as good as Ross Chastain's, but I will say I love it. They have the numbers slanted. That's one thing they got right on this scheme, but I don't think it's good as a 1, but I think it is up there as one of the better ones. So for me, this one absolutely still gets an A+. I still think Ross Chastain's is the better throwback for the Coca-Cola branding, but I think it looks really, really solid and looks really, really good in my honest opinion. So now, let's go ahead and jump into the NASCAR Xfinity Series throwbacks or this weekend, which should take a little bit less time. Starting off, we're going to talk about Sam Mayer's Rick Mass Throwback. This one's absolutely spot on. It looks really, really great. One of my favorite Xfinity Series throwbacks we've seen this year. Accelerated Pro Solutions did a really good job helping this one out. I am going to give this throwback overall an A-. It is very, very accurate. I just wish there was more, but it's going to be tougher for the Xfinity Series to get more accurate than the Cup Series. A- for me on the Sam Mayer throwback paint scheme. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Brett Moffitt's Mark Martin Throwback. This one, of course, is throwing back to Mark Martin's old days when he drove the 0-2 car back in the day. And I will say the Brett Moffitt scheme is one of my most underrated ones of all the throwbacks on this list. I think it does look really, really solid overall. So for me, I'm going to give this one also an A-. It does look really, really great in my opinion. I just wish there was a little bit more, but I think it does look pretty good. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Sheldon Creed's Richard Childress Racing throwback scheme. Now, I originally did not think that this was a throwback paint scheme, but I think it is a throwback paint scheme back to the 2001 and 2002 days when the 21 car was around. So if it truly is a throwback, it does actually look really, really good. And honestly, if they ran this paint scheme throughout the rest of the season, I absolutely would not blame them. Hope they do run it. It does look really great. I'm going to give this one a B+. I actually give it a B. I want a little more on this one, but I do think it looks good. And honestly, it'd be fine if they just ran this throwback the whole time. The next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Ryan Vargas's Jeff Gordon throwback to 1999. This is a very, very good looking throwback that Ryan Vargas is doing. It's absolutely spot on, accurate, and also the marketing that Ryan Vargas did for this as well is really, really good. So for me, I'm going to give this one an A+. This is a really good looking throwback, one of my favorites in the Xfinity Series, and they did a great job on this throwback. The next throwback we're going to head and take a look at is Joe Graf Jr.'s Buckshot Jones Tribute Throwback. Honestly, this is not my favorite throwback. It does look decently accurate, but the colors don't absolutely match up on this throwback. For me, I'm going to give this one a B-. It's a decent looking throwback in my opinion, but it's not my favorite throwback I have seen so far for the NASCAR Xfinity Series up to this point. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Justin Allgaier's Dale Earnhardt throwback back to Bud Moore and Dale Earnhardt days back in 1984 in the Wrangler Chevy. This is a really good looking throwback. I think Junior Motorsports did a really good job on their throwbacks here. So Champion Noah Gragson's not doing a throwback this year. But I think this looks really, really strong. And I like this throwback a lot. This one is an A+ all the way. It's a really good looking throwback. It's very, very accurate. And I like it a lot. The next throwback we're taking a look at is David Starr's Bobby Daughter Throwback. This one does look really, really good in my opinion. It throws it back to 1984 and 1985. And of course, Bobby Daughter is the owner of that 0A car, so it makes a ton of sense to throw it back to him. I like this a lot. For me, I'm going to give this one an A-. It does look really, really great in my opinion. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Josh Berry's Dale Jr. throwback when he drove the Looney Tunes car back in 2002. I like this throwback as well. I think it looks really, really solid. It's pretty accurate in my opinion. Back 2002. This one is an A+ all the way. I love it a lot. I'm excited to see on the racetrack. And maybe we'll see this car go back-to-back since he won the past race at Dover. I think it could have a shot of going back-to-back in this car. The next throwback we're taking a look at is Timmy Hill's Ricky Hendrick throwback back into the 1990s. This one, absolutely accurate. The only thing that's different is the manufacturer, but you can't change that. But this one does look very, very solid A+ on this one as well. It looks really, really great. Timmy Hill's had some good paint scheme this year, and this throwback is no exception. It does look very, very promising, and it does look overall really, really great as well. The next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Brandon Jones Paul Menard throwback, which of course is throwing back to Paul Menard's 2011 Brickyard 400 win. I absolutely think that this is a really, really great throwback, and it's great that Paul Menard is finally getting a tribute and a throwback to himself as well. I think it looks great. It's very, very promising. For me, it's going to get an A. It's not going to get a positive A+. It's going to get an A for me, but it came close to being an A. If this A+, but if this scheme was run all season, I would not be entirely mad about it. Next throwback paint scheme we are taking a look at is Austin Hill's Bennett throwback paint scheme. Again, I was unsure if there would be a throwback for this one, but this actually is a throwback back to 1974 Bennett Logistics schemes. In my opinion, I feel like it's just a little bit lazy. It does look good, but because it's a throwback, it's a little lazy. I'm going to give this one, unfortunately, a C. I want to see a little more out of this one. I want to see more from the RCR camp this year, and unfortunately, they didn't do as good of a job on this one as they've done on other ones. Next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Anthony Alfredo's Tom Huber throwback. Honestly, when I look at this 23 car, I don't think of Tom Huber. I think of Hutch Strickland, but I will give this paint scheme props. It's pretty accurate. I think the numbers match perfectly well, and it does look like a really good throwback overall. So for this one, I'm going to give it an A-. I do want to see a little more on this. I wasn't a big fan of Hutch Strickland back in the day, so it's probably why I'm not higher on my list, but it does look pretty good in my opinion. I think it's very solid Anthony Alfredo throwback. The next throwback paint scheme we are taking a look at is Jeb Burton's Ward Burton throwback. This is throwing back to Ward Burton's 1992 Rockingham win 30 years ago, about a little over 30 years ago to this day. This looks good in my opinion, and it's great to see that Jeb Burton is throwing it back to his father. That's a really good homage that they're doing. Both of the sons that are racing, Harrison and Jeb, are throwing it back to their fathers, which I think is really, really cool. It does look really, really good, by the way, and like I said, I'm excited to see it out on the racetrack. The next throwback we're taking a look at is My Snyder's Ken Schroeder Throwback. This one's pretty spot on, in my opinion. I think the 31 absolutely matches. You got a black, dirty one, which I think is great, which already looks very similar to 90 car that Ken Schroeder drove when he drove for Junie Donlevy back in the day. This one does look really, really great, in my opinion, and I am very excited to see on the racetrack in the Xfinity Series Darlington Throwback race. Next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Patrick Emerling's Richie Evans throwback scheme. Not much to say here on this BR DeWitt scheme. It does look pretty accurate. I'm not really sure how much I can say about Patrick Emerling as a driver. So for me, I'm going to give this one a B. It does look good, but it's not absolutely spot on, but it does look really good in my opinion. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Alex Sabay's Marion Edwards throwback scheme back to the 1970s. This one actually does look pretty decent in my opinion, but it's really hard to say it from the pictures, so I can't give more than an average of a B- just because I don't have a great notion on it. So for me, I'm giving this one a B-. Not much to say after that, though. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Josh Bilicki's Bill Elliott throwback back to 2006 when Bill Elliott drove the Burger King scheme. This one is really, really good in my opinion. I absolutely love this one. They have Insurance King on this wall. They've got it all in representation places. This one is an A+ for me. It does look really, really great, and it looks very, very solid as well, and I'm excited to see on the racetrack here this weekend at Darlington. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Tommy Joe Martin's throwback to his throwback last year. Not much to say here. The fact he's throwing back to last year is kind of a little bit lazy. For me, I'm giving this one a C just because of the fact they couldn't come up with something different. I feel like you should do something a little bit different. But again, it is throwback week, so sometimes teams are going to do basically the same thing. But I want a little more, so this will be getting a C from me. The next throwback we're taking a look at is Tyler Reddick's Bobby Allison throwback back to when Bobby Allison drove the Coca-Cola car. This is a really good-looking throwback, in my opinion. Jay Buford, of course, has been off the last couple weeks. He's not in the car here for a little bit. Tyler Reddick, of course, will be driving this car, and this one does look really, really good, in my honest and sincere opinion. So, score for this one, in my opinion, I'm giving this one an A. It does look good. Hopefully, Tyler Reddick can contend for a victory in the 48 car. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Jeremy Clement's Dale Earnhardt throwback. This is throwing back to Bud Moore and Dale Earnhardt when Dale Earnhardt drove the 15 for Bud Moore. This is a good-looking throwback, in my opinion. Looks really, really solid. Not much to say here. I'm giving this one an A. Looks really great. Great to see it on the racetrack, and not much other than say that. I do like this paint scheme overall. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Ty Gibbs' Bobby Labonte throwback, which is a throwback to the Interstate Batteries car from 2002. This right here is the best Xfinity Series throwback we've seen so far this year. No cap, this is an amazing Xfinity Series throwback. It's absolutely accurate. The colors look really, really well. You've got the number in a great position as well. The colors absolutely accurate. If he ran this car the whole season, I would not mind it. This looks absolutely killer. Freaking spot on from Joe Gibbs Racing. This is absolutely A+ material. I would make today say 2 A+, but this is 1 A+ material. Good throwback, though. Best Xfinity Series throwback, and it's not even close. The next throwback we're taking a look at is J.J. Yuley's Bobby Hamilton throwback back to 1993. This is very accurate as well, in my opinion. Kind of underrated on this one, but this is a very accurate throwback. It does look pretty good, but I wish there was a little more. So for me, I'm going to give this one just an A- right now. It does look pretty good, though, and I will be excited to see this one out on the racetrack for the throwback race. Next throwback scheme we're taking a look at is Brandon Brown's Brandon Brown throwback back to his late model days. Again, I really think it does look pretty good, but I feel like Brandon Brown maybe could have thrown it back to his last win. I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, in all honesty, I do think it does look pretty good, and I will be giving this one overall an A here. I think it looks pretty solid. I like the colors on it a lot, honestly. Maybe they should run this more than what they're doing for this season. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Josh Williams' 78 Beej Mcleod throwback. This is, of course, like I said, throwing it back to Beej Mcleod's days back in the late model scene, and it does look pretty good here. It looks very, very great. For me, very similar to Beej Mcleod's Cup Series one. It looks awesome, so I'm giving it a high score of an A-. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Mason Massey's Marty Massey throwback. Really cool that Mason is throwing back his father, Marty, who I believe is his father, who raced in this series, or his uncle, I'm not entirely sure, who raced in the racing world for many, many years. Very cool to see that that is going on, and again, it does look pretty good. I'm going to give this one a B. And the final for the Xfinity Series we're looking at is Stephen Parsons' Phil Parsons throwback. I think it's fair that he's throwing it back to Phil Parsons. It does look really, really great, and I'm excited to see it. For me, I'm going to give this Xfinity Series throwback to Phil Parsons, which of course is the throwback back when Phil Parsons won the 1988 Talladega race. I am going to give this throwback from here an A-. Pretty good looking throwback. Xfinity, I'm going to be tougher on than Cup. This does look really, really good. And now we're jumping into the Truck Series, and trust me, there's not as many Truck Series throwbacks as Xfinity and Cup. Let's jump into it. Starting off, we've got Hailie Deegan's Bobby Allison throwback when Bobby Allison drove the 16 car back in the day, I believe for Team Penske or another organization. This is great overall. The one's in a great position. It's a great color on it. It's accurate colors. Waistcoat does a good job being involved in this one, and this does look very, very solid. I'm excited that Hailie has a different branding, and it does look really, really great. I'm looking forward to see this one out on the racetrack here in the Truck Series race. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Blaine Perkins' Dudge George throwback. Dudge George, who is the crew chief for Blaine Perkins in the Truck Series right now. He basically has been working with Blaine Perkins this season, and it looks very accurate to Dudge George's days back in the NASCAR Truck Series in 1996. Score for this one, well, Hailie Deegan, I give overall an A. She did a great job, but for Blaine Perkins, I'm giving him a B. I'm going to give it an A- for this one. It does look great. I wish there was more, but it looks really, really accurate. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Spencer Boyd's Michael Waltrip throwback when Michael Waltrip drove, I believe, the 23 car in the Xfinity Series, or the 30 car, I should say, in the Cup Series. This looks good in my opinion. Very cool to see them throwing it back to Michael Waltrip. Michael Waltrip has been working with the Truck Series booth for a little bit. This does look very, very solid. I'm giving this one an A. It looks really good. Excited to see that Rim Time is working with him to get a good throwback. Next throwback paint scheme we're taking a look at is Tyler Ankram's Mike Skinner throwback, which is in honor of Toyota reaching 1,500 starts. This is more of an accurate throwback. It looks really, really promising. It looks great. This throwback, like I said, back 2008 for Mike Skinner. For me, A+ all the way. Love this paint scheme a lot, and I'm excited to see on the racetrack for the Darlington throwback race. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Ryan Preece's Reggie Ruggiero throwback, who currently works at Stewart Racing, is a legend in the modified world. This is a good-looking throwback, but it's not absolutely amazing. I'm giving this throwback, unfortunately, here a B-. It does look good, but it's not as amazing as I think it could have been. I wish the colors would have been a little bit better, but for me, it is a B-, unfortunately. The next throwback we're taking a look at is Derek Krause's Bill McAnally throwback back to the 1990 season. This looks pretty good in my opinion, but it's kind of ugly at the same time as well. But I know why they're going back to get Bill McAnally, the owner of the organization. I'm going to give this one, unfortunately, a C just because it does look pretty accurate, but the colors don't work perfectly on it, so it is unfortunately going to be a C for me on this one of my lowest rated throwbacks, unfortunately. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Danny Bones' Darrell Waltrip throwback scheme. This is a really good Darrell Waltrip throwback. It looks very, very similar to also the Skull Bandit throwback scheme, which of course will be driven by Justin Marks in the NASCAR Cup Series race on the pace laps. This looks really, really good. Very solid Truck Series throwback, and I'm excited to see on the racetrack. For me, my score on this one, I am going to give it a A-. It does look very, very good, and I like it a lot. Next throwback we're taking a look at is the 25's Matt DiBenedetto's throwback scheme. Of course, he drives for Rackley Roar Racing, and he'll have a Sterling Marlin throwback scheme. This absolutely is the best one as a throwback to Coors Light days. This right here is the best truck throwback of all the Truck Series throwbacks. This is the best truck throwback. A++, 2 pluses for me. Absolutely accurate, spot on. Not as good as Landon Castle's one when he drove for Starcom, but absolutely killer. A+ for this one. Best truck throwback paint scheme. Pretty accurate. A+ for me. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Josh Williams' Dale Earnhardt throwback. Gosh, this scheme was very close to being absolutely picture perfect. The only negative is the number on the car not being slanted, but I will say everything else looks good. So for this one, I fortunately have to give it an A-. This would have gotten an A+ or even an A had the number been slanted, but it still gets a very respectable A- grade for Josh Ryu. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Dean Thompson's Dean Thompson throwback. I really don't have much to say on this throwback, in my opinion. Again, it's very similar to the other Dean Thompson throwback, which are not related, by the way. I'm not going to give this one too high of a score just because I really have much to say. B- to me on this one. Not much there, but it's cool to see that Dean Thompson is throwing back to another Dean Thompson who he's not even related to. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Carson Hocevar's Travis Pastrana throwback back to 2011 and 2012. This is freaking amazing. Not only is the number on the color of the number on the side of the car look great, the colors are mismatching perfectly. It's great that Travis Pastrana is getting a throwback. Yes, he wasn't great in NASCAR, but he was great in other sports, so it's great they're tripping into him. This one is an A+ all the way. Looks amazing. My favorite throwbacks we got to see early in the throwback ones. I love this one a lot. I'm excited to see it out on the racetrack. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Akinari Ogata's Mike Skinner throwback back to the 2005 season. I actually do like this throwback, in my opinion. Hopefully he's able to qualify his way to the NASCAR Camp Road Truck Series. But overall, in my opinion, I think it does look very, very solid. It does look really, really nice, and I'm excited to see on the racetrack. For me, I'm going to give this one an A here. Does look good. Very excited to see on the racetrack. Not much to say other than that. Next throwback we're taking a look at is Chris Wright's Ron Hornaday Jr. throwback, which is a throwback back to the 2009 season when he had VFW on the car, which is also going to be sponsoring him this weekend. This looks very, very good in my honest opinion. It looks very accurate to the 33 car that Ron Hornaday ran. Not much other than say, though, so I'm going to give this one an A. Looks really great in my opinion, and I'm excited to see it out on the racetrack here in the Truck Series Darlington throwback race. The next throwback we're taking a look at is Lawless Allen's Jeff Gordon throwback back to the 2007 season, the race, unfortunately, where Jeff Gordon crashed. So we'll see if the Lawless Allen ends up crashing early in this race, so it's kind of accurate. But in all seriousness, in all honesty, this does look really, really good and very, very accurate to the Jeff Gordon one. But it's not absolutely perfect either. So I'll give this one an A-. I wish there was a little more creativity on this one, but it does look pretty accurate in my opinion. Next throwback for the Truck Series we're taking a look at is Stuart Friesen's Jack Johnson throwback. This is a close second for me in the Truck Series throwback side of things. I love the creativity that they're basically honoring Jack Johnson, a legendary big block driver up in the New York area, in the East Coast area. It's great they're throwing it back to him. For me, I'm going to give this one an A+. It's very accurate to it, and I'm excited to see this one out on the racetrack for the throwback race for tomorrow. The next throwback we're taking a look at for this one is Chase Purdy's Darrell Waltrip throwback back 2004. Not much to really say here. It looks very, very accurate. This is not the first time we've seen a Darrell Waltrip throwback. In fact, back in 2021, I believe, Spencer Davis did a throwback as well, or 2020, Spencer Davis did a throwback. So really not much to say here right here. But it's cool to see they're doing a throwback to him. So pretty cool in my opinion. Greatest day of doing a throwback, Darrell Waltrip's Truck Series days when Darrell Waltrip drove in the Truck Series back in 2004. And finally, the final throwback we're looking at as of now, because there might be throwbacks that are revealed after I record this. We're looking at Coley Howard's JT Gordon throwback. This one's very, very accurate to the JT Gordon throwback, which I think is throwback to the late model side of things. It does look really, really solid in my opinion, and I'm very excited to see this throwback out on the racetrack in the Darlington throwback race. So, that is every single throwback that we have seen up to this point. This is every single throwback for this weekend for those of you who are going into the race. So, I'm going to tell you my favorite throwbacks from each respective series. For the Cup Series, it's Ross Chastain's Coca-Cola throwback. That paint scheme looks amazing and looks absolutely incredible. That's my number one for Cup. For Xfinity, it's Ty Gibbs, Bobby Labonte throwback. They've got interstate batteries involved with that one. Then you got the Shark and all that stuff. It looks amazing. That's the best for Xfinity. And then for the Truck Series, it's got to be Matt DiBenedetto's Coors Light one. That's an amazing one. That is the best throwback for there. So, anyway, that is going to be it for the throwback preview for the throwback race this weekend. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notification on to be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on page as well. List description below over that, and comment your thoughts on today's video. What is your favorite throwback paint scheme you have seen here? Let me know in the comments below. I may do a listing of your guys' favorite throwbacks as well. Let me know this in the comments below. Later tonight as well, we're going to have the NASCAR Truck Series race review, pending weather concerns, and pending if I have to work or not on Saturday. I will be having a review for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and then Sunday, of course, we will have the NASCAR Cup Series race review from Darlington. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time for your awesome NASCAR and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.